Hi everybody, back in the kitchen, and today I'm going to show you how to make all these little decorations that go on the Easter cake, and I'm going to take you step by step through each one. And you can get these molds, most of them, from Fondant Solutions. I'll post the links in the description box below, but I'm going to take you through each one shortly. So first up, we're going to make the little basket, and for this one I've used the little basket mold from Fondant Solutions. And I'm making this first so that the handle can dry. What we need is some brown paste. Now I've used the Blossoms brown, which I've lightened with a little bit of white. You can see it's quite dark, but add a bit of white to it and you'll get a nice tan color. And I've got a circle cutter, and I have my extruder, and I have got a bore tool, and I have got two small pieces of 22 gauge wire. Okay, you don't have to use the wire, but I'm just going to pop it into the handles of the basket just so that they stand up nice and firm. Right, so what I'm going to do now, first of all, I'm going to roll out the paste. Just make sure there's no cracks in it. Roll it into a ball, and then roll it out. Now what I've done is I've got a cookie cutter that's about the same diameter as my basket, and I'm going to cut out that, place that into the bottom, just fit it in nice and snug, and then I'm going to put some around the side of that little basket. So I'm first going to roll it out, and just measure. Okay, just make that a little bit longer. Your edges are nice and straight. Don't worry about the unevenness of this because we are going to trim it. I'm going to place that into the basket. Palette knife or a sharp knife, and then ease that into the mold, pressing it hard against the sides and securing it around the base. And this is where the ball tool comes in, because now I'm just going to smooth it around the inside. And I'm going to take a craft knife and I'm just going to trim off the excess around the top. And just push that in nicely all the way around, nice and firm, so all that impressions come onto the side of your sugar paste. And for this to set, I put this in the deep freeze so that it sets nice and firm, and then it'll pop out your mold nice and easily. I'm just going to do that quickly. Whilst it's in the freezer, I'm just going to get some more paste ready to put into my extruder. Now it's the same brown. I've just added some white margarine to that. You can just add that into your paste. Makes it nice and pliable. Roll it into a thin sausage. And then with your extruder, you can place your little washer. Oops, there we go. And you pop that in there. Place the paste inside, and screw the top on. Okay, so this has been in the freezer for about 10 minutes and I'm just going to pop it out. And there we have our basket. Now to this I'm just going to add the handles and I'm going to add the rim around the side. And I need to just get my extruder sorted. Okay, so now we've got the extruder done. I'm just going to extrude some of the sugar paste. This is a clay extruder, but we use it in cake decorating as well. And you can see I'm extruding it nicely there. I will do a separate tutorial on the extruders at a later stage. Right, I'm just going to stop that there. Now, if you can see this rope, it's got 3 little indents on it. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to, with both my hands, I'm just going to work in opposite directions. And as I do this, so the rope forms. And that I'm going to put around the top of the basket. And there you can see how nicely that looks. I'm just going to take my water pen and just go around the top. Just want to cut that there. And you can see I've got a little photo bomber in the background. That's my little Brody. There we go. Now if you pop them in the mold with the sugar paste into the freezer, it sets it really nice and hard, but it will become sticky as it gets back to room temperature. Don't worry about that, because that stickiness will go. Okay, for the basket handles, I've extruded another piece and I've twisted it to get that nice rope look on it. Now I'm going to take my thin piece of florist wire and I'm just going to insert it into the bottom of the one and also into the other side. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is just with the same size wire, I'm just going to poke a hole through the paste on the one side and through the paste on the other side, just so that when I pop these into the holes, it's not going to damage the little handle that I've made. Now you can place some paper towel underneath that, or you can place some cling foil just to keep it in place. I'm just quickly going to get some cling foil, and you can pop that in there just so that it keeps that handle from falling over. And here we have our little basket, which when it's dried will look like that. Okay, next up I'm going to make the carrot, and I'm using a mold from Fondant Solutions. And what you want to do is take a little piece of green, take some green, pop it into the top, and then with your Dresden tool just make sure that it gets into all the little nooks and crannies. You can see I'm easing that in there, and I'm just going to slice off the excess. And I'm going to take some orange, roll it into a ball, and pop it in there. Push it in nice and firm. And slice off the excess. Now this is, the orange I've used is the Premium RTR's sugar paste, and it's the orange color. And for the green I've used their Blossoms modeling paste. I've added some CMC to the orange. You don't need to add it to the Blossoms modeling paste. And to take this out, you just gently ease it out, and there you have your carrot. Next up is this really cute little Mealy. And again, I'm using one of the Fondant Solutions molds, which is the haystack and the Mealy. I'm only going to be making the Mealy, or corn on the cob, whatever you want to call it. First I'm going to put on the green, which is the leaves. So I need to work that into the mold, and I'm just rolling a nice thin sausage just to work that in. And again, I'm going to take my Dresden tool and I'm just easing it into the parts where the leaves are inside. This will make sure you get nice clean lines so you don't get the paste bleeding into the yellow. So you can see I've carefully added the green in there, and then I'm going to add the yellow. Now the yellow color that I've used is the Blossoms modeling paste, and I've added some of the Kolor-Burst sunlit yellow. This just gives it a nice stronger yellow. Pop that into your mold. Don't overfill your molds. Okay, and just trim off the excess. And then you can pop it out. And there you have the little Mealy, corn on the cob. Next up is Mr. Sunshine. Whoopsie, sorry. There we go, Mr. Sunshine, and it's also a little mold from Fondant Solutions. Cutest little sun for the side of your cakes. And again, I'm just going to use the yellow. A little bit of corn flour if it's a bit sticky. Pop that into your mold, and I'm just going to roll that in so it gets into all the little crevices, and trim off the excess. Make sure your edges are nice and clean, and you can pop that out. Okay, this one's not going to come out straight away, so I'm going to stick this one in the freezer as well. This just lets it set nice and firmly. While the sun is setting in the freezer, I'm going to make a pretty little sunflower, and this is a sunflower mold that I bought from one of my suppliers. Again, I'm using the yellow that I used for the same yellow that I used for the sun and the corn on the cob. Trim off the excess, make sure all the edges are clean, and just pop that out. And then for the center of that, I'm going to use the same brown as I used for the basket, just a little piece. And this is a flower center mold. I'm just going to pop that into the center there. This resembles the center of all the stamens and flowers. Now if you can't get this out, an easy way to use to get that out is you get a pin and just prick it, and it will pop out. There we go. Take your water onto the flower, and you can stick your center. And then we have our sunflower. Next up, I'm going to make these pretty little daisies, and this is the multi-daisy mold, also from Fondant Solutions. And to make these, you need a center, so I'm taking a little piece of yellow, and I'm going to pop it into the center of that flower. And I'm also going to take a tiny little piece of pink. I'm going to make this small little one. You need a tiny little piece to go in the center. Be careful that it's not too big, otherwise the color will bleed into the petals. Here we go. Small little pieces in the center. And then I'm going to fill that one. I'm going to use pink for that. And as I put it in, I'm pushing down in the center. If I put it in at the side and push it, could move that centerpiece out. So push it down from the top and trim off the excess. And then make your tiny little yellow one. Trim off the excess. And just pop those out. There we go. Now you can make a whole lot of these because we can use these to decorate around the side of the cake. And I'll just bring this one here front. There we go. So you can see I've got the sun and the sunflowers, and we've also used flowers on the little Easter eggs, and they go all the way around. So make quite a few of these in different colors, different variations, and then I will show you where we're going to put those. I've just taken the sun out of the freezer and it's nice and set. Now you can finish it off by putting in 2 little eyes, and you can dust the mouth area with a little bit of pink dusting powder, and you can give it some cheeks. Last flower I'm going to make is my little rose. And this is also from Fondant Solutions, and you just want to roll your paste into a little ball and just pop it into the mold, push it right down so that it can get right to the bottom, trim off the excess, and if it's difficult to get out to begin with, pop it into the freezer for a few minutes and then it'll pop out. This one needs to go into the freezer just for a few seconds and it will firm up and then it'll just pop out of the mold. Right, so that's been in the freezer and it's firmed up, and I've popped it out, and there you have your perfect little rose.